If you're a quarterback who's looking to improve their spiral or just want to be able to better understand what to do with the wrist as you're going through the throw, I think this is going to be a great video for you. I'm going to go in depth into how the wrist should be moving as you're going through the different phases, loading the ball, transitioning forward, as well as releasing during the throw. And while I do that, I'm going to give you a very in-depth understanding of how the wrist is moving. And then after that, I'll also go in depth into what are some of the drills and exercises you could be doing to really slow it down and understand what you should be feeling to make sure that you're able to get a better spiral on each one of your throws. First thing we're going to do is just define the 3 different ways the wrist moves. First one's just going to be flexion and extension, just going forward and back. The forward action is really what you want to be doing as the ball is coming out of your hands. In general, you want to kind of eliminate any type of excessive backward action. You want to be able to get more of like a neutral position throughout. And then this sideways kind of pinky action coming forward, that's what you want to be doing as you are transitioning from having the ball coming back behind to then coming back forward and really making sure you don't fall back with the thumb. So a lot of people that will make it so the nose of the football goes upwards, where you want to get that nose facing downwards. And the big way to do that is to have that downward movement of the pinky, which is adduction movement. And then we also have pronation and supination. So when we look at this, what the supination is basically when you're loading the football. So as you're going back and you have your hand on top of the football is going to be supination. And then pronation is going to be as you're going through the throw and turning the wrist. You're really pronating the wrist there. And there does want to be an active turning motion. So we can see here in the throw, as I'm going back with the football, again, here is a supinated position. And it's important that we're in a good neutral spot here with the wrist, and I'll kind of go over that more in the drill, but you want to make sure that the way that you're holding the ball is correct. If that's not right, then the whole thing's going to be off. So here we're in kind of a supinated position, could even be slightly abducted, which means that my thumb is kind of inwards a little bit more there, or basically maybe a little bit more towards like the forearm. And then as I'm going through here, this is where I'm pronating the hand, where my wrist is turning as I'm going through the throw, and I'm actively turning the hand. I'm being very diligent in how I'm turning the wrist, the forearm, to make it so that I'm coming forward. And then as I'm doing that, again, there ends up being this a little bit of a abduction where that thumb's coming down, but I don't want to extend. Really more of a movement like this in the wrist. It doesn't want to be too much of a falling back movement or a breaking of the wrist. You want to keep that joint very stable. And then as you're coming through, again, it's a rotation here that makes it so then the nose of the football comes around. And now from here, I'm really bringing my pinky downward. So now we're getting into that adduction. And then as the ball comes out, there wants to be a flexion of the wrist or coming all the way forward. And this is important to really understand. You don't have to do it exactly like how I am. There's obviously a ton of different ways to go through the throw, but you want to understand what are the parts of your wrist that are messing up your throw. If you're not getting a great spiral, I would say just getting some of these basics down are important. Supination and keeping more of the thumb kind of in. That will make it so then you're a little bit stronger with the wrist. If you have your thumb a little bit more turned in, that's going to kind of lock that wrist into place, make it so then you don't fall back with the wrist there. Because if your elbow is dropping as you're going through the throw, typically that means that you're dropping or allowing that wrist to extend, right? So you could even feel almost like you're revving like an engine. When you do that, your elbow also drops. But if I'm locked in here with my wrist, then I'm not going to be able to have that same degree of motion as I will if I'm loose in that position. So you want to be locked with that thumb in, so then we can get your pinky to turn as you're going through the throws. Some of the main drills I like to do here are just going to be starting off with, I'm just holding the ball. I want to make sure I'm in a good neutral position with the wrist, which means that I'm not here and I have a good grip on the ball. So if I'm here and I do this a few times, I can hold it well. If this falls out of your hand, then you're probably not holding the ball in the right position. And then from here, I just like to go through and just feel how my wrist wants to be rotating. So I'm here with the nose. I'm kind of feeling how my wrist is going to be kind of supinating back here. Right, that's that first action, kind of lifting up in my pinky, dropping my index finger. That's going to be a supination. And then from here, I'm feeling myself pronate as fast as I can. And then as I'm doing that, notice my elbow, I'm not dropping the elbow down. I'm coming right up and through, and then getting the nose of the football facing straight ahead. So I'm just doing kind of those movements. So first I'm breaking it down here, supination, and then I'm coming around first and just kind of feeling
how to get the nose of the football to get around while also not dropping the elbow. I see so many people that go here with it, where you really want to be here. You can get a little bit back, especially on those deeper throws, but for the sake of the drill, really emphasize getting straight around. And then from there, now we want to just continue to get the elbow to come through, okay? And as I'm getting the elbow through, I'm kind of rotating a little bit in the hip. So as I'm going into this position, I'm just feeling that there. And I think this is just the best way to be able to feel how you want to be going through the throw, and then just go through it and actually feel what that should feel like there. And just practice that as many times as you can. And I think over a period of time, you'll start to get the wrist down. And I would do that for also kind of the deeper throws, especially when you get some video of yourself throwing the deep throw. You want to be able to get the nose a little bit more upwards on those, but you still want to get a better understanding of how to get the elbow through and wrist around, even as you're trying to put a bigger or higher trajectory on the football.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. We have some other options as well here if you want to watch other videos about how to improve your throwing mechanics, as well as down below in the description some of the coaching offers that we have. If you're looking to get some private coaching or do a one-on-one breakdown, you can check that out in the description. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.